I've never seen the likes of it in my life. I'm almost 80 years old.
Tonight, absolute destruction.
There's a lot of people over here that are suffering.
A vengeful summer storm slammed Shepherd, smashing windows, destroying siding, even leaving one family looking for a new place to live.
We worked so hard on this house. We put everything we had into this house.
From collapsed buildings to drifts of hail several feet deep, this is a scene no one saw coming.
Tonight on the MTN 530 News, a community in crisis.
From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 530 News.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Andrea Lutz.
And I'm Russ Riesinger. Tonight we come to you from Shepherd, where all is calm right now, but 24 hours ago, it was a much different story.
This community fell in the eye of this storm, ripping through the city with 70-mile-per-hour winds and massive hail.
Well, the damage out here is hard to miss, from shattered windows to shredded siding to roofs stripped completely bare.
That's right. For one family with young children, this storm actually turned their entire lives upside down. We begin our team coverage tonight with Charlie Kleps and a story of survival through all the wreckage.
In a matter of moments,
God, it happened so quick.
dark clouds covered the sky.
I didn't really know what was going to happen.
And as uncertainty filled Jordan Dalton's head, dangerously strong winds picked up speed.
I was just more scared, my daughter was with me, and last thing I want to happen is anything to my little girl.
It was at that moment that Dalton knew she needed to flee.
The wind started coming up pretty bad, so we rushed down to my grandma's house.
It was there that she took this video. What she didn't know is that it would be the last time she saw her house standing upright.
Not even 2 minutes later, the whole house just completely went.
This is the aftermath of that storm, where this home was ripped off of its foundation here and rolled 20 feet down the property. A devastating scene that feels impossible for Jordan and her husband Joe to stomach.
Put my heart and soul into this house. Every penny I had for the last 3 years.
Their home, which was nearing completion after more than 2 years of construction, now flipped upside down, crushing one of their vehicles and destroying nearly all of their belongings inside.
We went so much into debt just to get this house livable, and now it's just all gone.
On Tuesday, the Daltons were left salvaging what they could.
Move that!
Searching through the scraps of what they hoped would be their forever home.
It's like opening a fresh wound. Every time you see something that you cherish completely demolished, it's just ripping off the scab all over again.
A nightmare reality for this family and many others.
Everybody lost stuff, and everybody's homes got damaged.
Now hoping for help on their emotional and uncertain road to recovery.
It's hard to ask people for help in a situation like this because everybody's going through something.
In Shepherd, Charlie Kleps, MTN News.
Well, this is far from the only destruction felt out here. Almost every single property in this area had some sort of damage. The winds were relentless, and the hail pounded with such force it was exploding windows out of homes and cars. Tonight, our Hannah Pettiferi shows us how terrifying this storm was to witness firsthand.
There was no need to watch television Monday night for Jesse Parman. Instead, a reality show was unfolding right in front of him. Not on a screen.
It had blown the windows out.
But right behind his couch.
I was having golf balls and ping pong balls bouncing off the couch, and it shredded all the Venetian blinds.
Monday's storm shattered glass as giant hailstones pummeled through windows like baseballs.
There was standing water in the whole house, and ice.
And outside, even more destruction.
All these trees, these were beautiful trees, but the bark's gone. Not just the leaves, they're denuded. My neighbor called and he said, "Where do we start?" And I go, "I don't know where to start."
Jesse is not the only one dealing with this tragedy. Right down the road from me, the Supers are also facing the devastation.
I've never seen the likes of it in my life. I'm almost 80 years old.
Chuck and Luann Super are also busy cleaning up shattered glass, as 4 of their windows were shattered by the storm.
It was almost like a vacuum had broke, you know, kind of like, when you pop a cork on a champagne bottle or something. Just boom.
I don't even know how to describe what it sounded like. It was just loud and scary.
Living in Shepherd for more than 4 decades, this was the worst they've ever experienced.
This one takes cake.
And not just them.
I've lived in Montana my whole life, and I've never seen anything like this.
But also the Ferguson family, all but destroyed by the relentless hail.
Their window down there is completely shattered out. They had a big drift of hail inside their living room. Their floor's all flooded. All their skylights are broke out.
Shepherd is a community now cleaning up.
There's a lot of people over here that are suffering.
From this costly and unforgettable storm, the likes of which they never hope to experience again.
Everybody out here pretty much went through the same thing, some worse, I'm sure, and some better.
In Shepherd, Hannah Pettiferry, MTN News.
Well, the cleanup could take from days to weeks as this storm produced up to a half-foot of hail in some places. Take a look at some of these shots as it covered yards, parking lots, roads, even the Shepherd High School football field, making it look more like a snowy December day. Nearly 8 inches of hailstones fell in less than an hour, creating a winter wonderland at the start of summer.
Well, it seems like we've had storms night after night for the last week. It has many of us wondering when Mother Nature's finally going to calm down.
Yeah, for the very latest on that, we want to head back inside to check in with Chief Meteorologist Ed McIntosh for the very latest. Ed?
Not nearly as busy as it has been, but Doppler radar still showing us some showers, thunderstorms, plenty of thunder and lightning to go along with some of those storms as well. And regionally, well, the storms are across Montana. The warmer temperatures in these 80s through the Pacific Northwest, even western Montana, start to move this way for tomorrow. We're going to have a warm stretch for at least a little while, but getting into next week, we're trending towards wetter than average conditions, and it looks like it might be cooler than average. Forecast coming up.
Another family in cleanup mode tonight. This time they're separated by miles.
Yeah, a woman in Billings saw a tree topple onto her car while her father's house in Shepherd was pelted.
Our Matt Carmack shares their story.
Trees.
I've never seen anything like it.
Big trees, something that makes this neighborhood off of Lewis Avenue so beautiful and loved by many.
There are a couple tree branches down, but it's nothing too big, not compared to Shepherd.
But when those trees begin to whip at nearly 60 miles per hour, danger strikes.
And I heard a thud noise, and so I walked by the window and I seen a downed tree, and I walked outside and it was on my car.
That's what happened to resident Riley R.J. Neeskins Monday night while making dinner for her daughter.
So when we walked out, obviously it was on the hood of the car. We were able to remove the branch off the car and my hood was completely dented in.
Proof of just how quickly Montana's weather can change.
Well, you can have every season in a week here at this point.
But the roots across Yellowstone County don't just grow trees. They grow family. And here in Shepherd, just 30 minutes from Riley's house, her father, Mitch Neeskins, is cleaning up his property from the exact same storm.
It started getting windy and the clouds were building, and I just happened to peek out the garage, and over there I seen a roof flying through the air and then run for cover.
At the same time Riley found her car damaged, her dad miles away was living through this.
At the same time, yeah, that's definitely in 2 different areas. Yeah, that's pretty weird.
The hail and wind threw branches all over his property. It even threw his pet turkeys into the neighbor's yard.
Well, I've been through some crazy ones, but definitely had my heart pounding on this one.
But both Mitch and RJ agree. The most important thing was no one in the family got hurt.
We all made it out good.
In Yellowstone County, Matt Carmack, MTN News.
Well, there really simply is not enough time to show you all the damage that the Shepherd community is dealing with.
Yeah, homes were damaged here, but also those who suffered were farmers and ranchers. Not only were crops and fields completely destroyed, some had expensive machinery damage. Check out these images from the Stahl family, which saw their shop collapse on top of all of their haying equipment.
Many livestock were also pummeled by hailstones. No word on whether any were seriously injured.
Well, many had feared that a tornado had touched down here, and even though it didn't, it shows just how fast things can turn dangerous. In Billings, tornado sirens were a thing for many years. However, they don't work anymore, so it has many questioning how we do stay informed in emergencies. Our Augustus Marceau has the story.
They sit quiet now.
Oh, I was pretty dang scared.
But David Ritchie remembers a time when he relied on these tornado sirens.
It was coming toward an apartment I lived at.
It was Father's Day in 2010, but since, they've gone quiet.
The authorizations of communication didn't happen fast enough, and they didn't actually go off until after the storm was done.
Dennis Pittman was a county commissioner back then. He says the commissioners decided to deactivate the sirens, replacing them with modern technology.
We couldn't get parts for them was the other thing, so as they broke, we just didn't have the capacity to repair them.
But after the tornado activity over the weekend, residents were left wondering, if no sirens, what else could they rely on?
So whether it's shelter in place, whether it's an active shooter, the emergency apps are actually more effective now in getting information to people and what needs to be done in a certain situation.
You might remember Code Red. Well, it didn't last long. Director of Emergency Services Derek Yeager, consumed with storm damage now, tells me in an email they now use Everbridge. He says this new app does more than just inform residents about tornadoes, ranging anywhere from floods to fires. Information, he says, everyone can use.
We were doing a lot of different things, speaking to every group we could talk to, talking to seniors, to child care providers, to the schools. Anybody who would listen, we would talk to about why we were transitioning to these new mechanisms for information.
However, as we found out, many in Billings are still unaware Everbridge exists.
The second one I haven't heard of, no.
No, I haven't heard about any of it. What are those apps?
Not ringing a bell either with the Code Red and the Evergreen or whatever you said it was called.
For Ritchie, he's concerned about those who don't use apps.
But I would think maybe for elderly people, like they're on a limited budget. A lot of them don't have maybe smartphones.
For now, these serve as a silent reminder of the old ways. So today, if you suspect danger, don't perk your ears, check your phone. In Billings, Augustus Marceau, MTN News.
Well, Billings is far from the only area going to these emergency alert systems. Fallon County is also asking people to sign up for Code Red. The county's disaster and emergency services saying they will use the system, which is similar to Everbridge, to alert the community in the case of emergencies such as evacuation notices, boil water orders, and missing people. Registering is completely free, and you can visit FallonCountyMT.gov to sign up.